Coaching in Session.
Your exclusive destination for unparalleled personal and professional growth.
With your host, Michael Rearden.
Whether you choose to live within limits or break free, your mindset journey begins here.
There are going to be many different paths in your life, paths that you can go down for your career, your relationships, maybe the things you want to do and the things you don't want to do. There could be roadblocks, there can be wide open paths and trails for you to run amok and to fly free and spread your wings. But those paths and that journey of life is very different than your destiny. For your destiny, maybe there's only two. The one that you can fulfill and the one that you do not. Because there is going to be something that only you can do. And it's going to be either you did it all the way or you did it partially. Maybe somewhere in between you might say, well, at least I tried to do some of my destiny, but it was too big. It was too much work. Well, I'm sure for the people who reach it, don't say it was so much work. I regret doing all this work. More people are going to be like, I'm happy I did the work to reach my destiny. I don't get religious often, but one of the questions, I probably talked about this in the podcast before. One of the questions I would ask God or Jesus or who your deity when you make it to them after your life is gone, right? Because maybe you get to ask multiple questions. Some people might ask questions like, why are you creating murderers and people who harm people? And why are you creating inequality and injustice in the world? And people might ask these questions, right? But the question is easily answered in the sense of he didn't create anything evil. It's the path that people decided to go on. Some paths and some journeys of life can lead to something good that can lead to something beneficial for themselves and for others. And then there's going to be some paths that are going to lead people astray, away from their destiny, away from them creating a life of service and helping others, individuals, them growing and starting a family. Not to say that they are bound by their destiny because they have a choice to do it or not do it. But there's going to be people who do these wrong things. So my question is not so much of why the world is the way the world is. My question is more pointed at me because I understand that I am the proponent for everything that happens in my life, the good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly. I would ask them, how did I do? Did I live up to your will? Did I complete your destiny? Did I do everything that you had planned for me? Today, I know that answer is no. I'm not even halfway there. There's a lot more that I need to do in order to say that I have fulfilled my destiny. But this is not to say that since I'm not even halfway there and I have done so much work in my life that I should just throw in the towel and give up. How many people they give up too soon? They stop right before they find the diamonds or the gold. They quit before the going gets good because the rough is too daunting for them to experience another day. I think about the people who live in this destiny of complacency, of comfort, of not trying. There's so much more out there for you to do. Why are you not paying attention? Why are you not looking in the mirror? Why are you not filling up your book? Because you have a story that needs to be written and you are the author. And we need to understand that if there's two destinies, one that we have to reach and have to is subjective, meaning you get to choose if you want it or if you don't want it. And then the other one is just allowing life to happen to you, the comfort, right? The circumstances. That is where most people are today. And so I wrote this article here, TOS Part 76, Our True Destinies. Why only one leads to true success and fulfillment. That right there, true success and fulfillment, should be the key point in your understanding. Do you want true success? And do you want fulfillment? Or do you just want what's in between? Or do you just want the scraps? Well, I say that if you want a destiny that you could be happy about, You have to build it. You have to forge it. You have to do everything in your power to make sure it becomes reality. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens on purpose. So we have to be on purpose. The first destiny is talking about how we can live the comfortable, slow life, where we can just think about, oh, how nice it would be to get things handed to me, how nice it would be to have a nice, easy, smooth life where there's no problems, and I don't have to worry about money, and I don't have to worry about anything because everything is perfect. It's exactly how I want it. But then again, there's no struggle, there's no challenge, there's just this anticipation, your will of what you want, what you need done. There's no urgency for change. It's just what is. So this life is very comfortable. But with comfort, there's a stagnancy there. With comfort, there's no growth. When you go to the gym, go on the treadmill, you start huffing and puffing. Your heart's going to thank you later, but it's not thanking you right now. It's saying, hey, this guy's crazy. This girl's crazy. But it will thank you later down the road. Growth happens over time. It's not instant sometimes. You plant a seed in the ground, it's not instant. It takes some time. We try to change an aspect of ourselves or our life, our career. We are looking for a new job and a new career, and we're doing all of these job hunts, and we are not getting lucky. It's taking some time. It's hard. Are we winning? Are we failing? But are we choosing to stay where we are because that is what's happening? Or are we choosing to stay where we are because we fear how much work it requires to change? So many people who are staying in this comfortable because they don't want to change. I remember when I first changed, it was like I was tearing down the house that I just built. And I asked myself, why did I even build this house in the first place? Well, the answer was I was just looking for a place to lay my head, a place to feel safe, a place to where I thought I could build. But when I was building on the sand and I was not using proper building techniques, what I was building was for naught. So even the home that I would have built there would have toppled over within a certain period of time because I didn't put in the safety measures. I didn't use proper engineering techniques. I didn't understand mindset. I just understood what I wanted. But what I wanted was mundane, was not important. I was looking for the comfort. I was looking for good circumstances. I wasn't looking for the hard parts because the hard parts in life make you tough. When you get knocked down, you pay attention. When you're fighting someone who's stronger than you, either you win or you lose. And after you win or after you lose, you still have a choice to make. Do you keep on going or do you remain comfortable in where you were? Oh, I lost. I guess I'm not that strong. Well, I'm very strong. I guess I don't have to practice. Think of swordsmen, whether it be samurais or just be people in medieval times. They wouldn't just be this amazing warrior all of a sudden and say, hey, I got a sword. I'm a warrior. They would swing that sword hundreds, if not thousands of times a day. They would have blisters over their hands and it would callous. And I can tell you how painful that could be. And you're just there swinging that sword in the anticipation that maybe one day you have to swing it at an enemy. And then there's something in the back of your mind during that time as well. Maybe I will never have to use this skill of swinging my sword at somebody, so why even bother learning this skill if it might not be necessary? Our world today, we have a lot of unnecessary things we don't need to be in shape. We can take an Uber anywhere. We don't have to walk anywhere. We don't need to have to cook. We don't need a skill of cooking because we could just order some food or drive to the corner and we can get some food. So there's a lot of basic skills that were once a necessary thing that are now obsolete. But yet, we know that living a life of comfort feels nice, and we know that it is good for a period of time, but for a long period of time, it is not good. For a long period of time, it's actually damaging. For a long period of time, you're going to realize that this was the wrong way. But then again, how many people choose that path? How many people choose that destiny? Too many to count. Too many to want to have to admit. There are so many people that are trying to live in the slow lane of life. And the slow lane, it might offer you some nice views, as I said in a past episode of the podcast. Mindset is about challenging everything that you know and everything that you will know. I will tug and pull on your mindset, and I will make you think one way just to ask a question and make you think a different way. This is how we grow. Because yes, being in a nice AC home on a 100-degree Texas day is nice. But have you ever went outside and worked the gardens and worked the soils and cut the grass and shingled the roofs? Maybe, maybe not. Not saying that you have to do it in order to be a person who's living life or a person who's in line with your destiny. I'm just saying that there's going to be paths that people are going to be on that are going to be more treacherous than the path that you're on. But is the path that you're on treacherous enough to help you grow? This leads us into our second destiny, the life we were meant to live. Now, the life that we were meant to live is not saying that we are meant to live a life where we are struggling, a life where we are poor, a life where we're homeless on the streets begging for money because we're giving it our all. There's no plan B. Burn down the bridges, burn down the ships. There's no alternative. This destiny, it's not for the faint of heart. It's for someone who understands that this destiny is too important to forgo. It's too important to not bring into reality. Imagine something that has happened in life, and then imagine it didn't happen. For example, let's say there was no Windows, there was no Apple, there was no, and Windows meaning the operating system, Windows, Bill Gates, right? Microsoft. There was no computers, or there's no iPhones, and there's no technology, and there's no spaceships, and there's no cars, and there's no computers, there's no MP3 players, there's no CD players, there's no cassette players, there's no instruments. Let's live a world where those things are gone. Well, in that world, maybe we can find something that we can do. I didn't say anything about drawing, so maybe we can draw. But then, is that going to appease everyone? Drawing, getting a palette of colors and saying, all right, let me see what I can create. That could be their destiny, but it's not for everyone. Maybe someone's destiny was with technology, was with AI, was with building automotive cars like Henry Ford, was like building spaceships to launch into space like NASA and Elon Musk. All of these things are to say, hey, there's so much to do. There's so much that can be done. We can think about it not being done very easily. At one point, when it wasn't done, thinking it could be done might have been a feat for the strongest of mindsets because it has never been done before. It was seemingly impossible. How in the world can we go into outer space when we're here stuck on land? And then again, 1900. How in the world can we fly in the sky? And then the Wright brothers came around just a couple of years later. And so now we can fly from one continent to the next, and we can go from this vacation to the next vacation, all with a couple of dollars, all with some time spent on a plane. But this idea of destiny, it's a long haul, it's a journey. It's one where it's more than just a 2-hour flight to New York. It's more than just a 16-hour trip to Europe. There's something there that needs to be paid more attention to. Because what is your destiny? But destiny is everything that you can do, and it's everything that you will do. But then again, there's going to be part of that destiny or a part of that book or part of that story that might be unwritten. There could be some pages left. Because if I had to give you a visual for what your destiny looks like, your destiny is a 500-page college ruled 5-star notebook. And it is your job in life to fill up that book. Now, what you fill it up with are going to be things, tasks, things you have done, careers, stories you have told, lives you have changed. Basically, your legacy. Your goal is to fill up this book so that there's no blank pages. And when you do fill up that book, your life ends. Now, your life just doesn't magically end when you're finished with this book. It's just that your destiny is this book. Your destiny is complete when this book is filled. Is it possible for a person to have multiple destinies? Of course, as you can see here, someone can live the comfortable life and not fill up any pages. And then there could be a book where someone is filling the 500 plus college ruled pages, and maybe they're writing on the covers, they're writing on the backs. Maybe they have to get another book, right? That did more than what their destiny was for them. And it's possible that you do more than what your life was allotted. But then again, if we say that your life was predetermined at the beginning, there's a beginning and there's an end. And so when you read a book or a story, for example, you don't just start reading the book and then all of a sudden the book just ends and there's a cliffhanger and there's no clear ending and there's no real summary. And the book is just kind of a beginning and there's no middle really and there's no end. That's not what your destiny should look like. It should be a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is going to be the inception of who you're becoming. The middle is going to be the path, the journeys that you go on. It's going to be winding. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have battles that you win and battles that you lose. You're going to have moments when you feel powerful and moments when you feel weak. That is everything that you are and everything that you will become. Because your destiny is not only about the good things that happen in your life. It's going to be about the bad things. Sometimes I think about the moments I messed up in my life. I think about when I was a swim instructor and I maybe worked the kid too hard and they got sick and started throwing up or something like that. And it could be just the smallest things. And I said, I wouldn't let that happen today. But it happened when I was still a novice, when I was still training, when I was still becoming. And then I fast forward years after me being a swim coach and still swimming and how effective I was, where I could take any kid, any person, and I could teach them how to swim very quickly. Fast forward to today, my son, he's 3. He's learning how to swim and I'm teaching him. And his kicks look good. Everything looks good. And he's doing everything I want him to do exactly when I want him to do it. And you might say, oh, he's just a natural. He's a natural swimmer. But then again, it was what I was helping him understand the moment he got into water. Let's work on the kicks. Let's work on doing some bubbles. Let's work on what we need. His destiny might not be a Michael Phelps or a swimmer or anything to do with the water, but it is a skill that could help him in his life. It could be part of his story. It could be part of his destiny. But it's just the beginning for him, right? Learning how to walk is just the beginning because somewhere in between you learn how to run and then you learn how to win. You learn how to achieve. You learn how to reach your goals. And all of these things are steps toward your destiny. Here in this article where I'm talking about these powerful steps to your higher destiny is sometimes not an easy path. Sometimes you have to understand there are going to be things that you have to do and things you have to work on in order for you to pay more attention and to have your destiny more aligned with who you can become. And so the 6 steps are very simple. Step 1 is about awareness. And in this step, we are understanding about ourselves. We're understanding how we are shaped. Some people are shaped like warriors. Their mindset is forged in resilience. And some are going to be stuck in patterns of limiting beliefs and self doubt. We need to understand where we are with this. Because once we become aware of who we are today, we can begin to implement some changes and some systems that are going to help us get rid of the things that are not beneficial to build and to incorporate things that are going to help us build to the destinies in life or to our primary destiny or our higher destiny. Step 2 is talking about the vision. The vision is us understanding what we would like our life to look like. Because I don't think people, they think of their life of, I want to go live in a cardboard box and I want to go eat from dumpsters and I want to have to beg for money, right? That is not what people do. That is not what their vision is in life. Of course, some people, they have hopes and it's not really a vision. They wish it's not really a vision. And so they say, oh, I wish I can marry someone and have a lot of money. I wish I can win a lot of money. I wish that everything will go good so I can have a nice big home. And yeah, sure, these are nice, grandiose things to have. And I'm not saying that you can't have them, but your vision is not just the materialistic goods. Your vision is more than what you are right now. It's something that might seem almost impossible right now. It might not even be tangible, but you can create a clear vision of what you want things to look like. Do you want your life filled with happiness or do you want your life filled with sadness? Well, happiness is typically the answer, right? What is happiness to you? Is happiness puppies? Is happiness kids? Is happiness a career that you love or a business that is thriving? What is happiness to you? We begin to define it, but this is our vision. Our vision is more than just what we can think about or what we think is believable, because our vision is more than what we can believe right now. Sometimes our vision is crazy. You have to be crazy to have this vision. Your destiny is sometimes crazy. Your higher destiny is crazy to reach. You think of Mount Everest and climbing it, you're like, whoa, this is so tough. And it is tough. There's people who do it though. And it's not saying that you need to climb Mount Everest in order to be successful, or you need to climb Mount Everest in order for your vision to come to reality. Your vision can be very different than climbing a mountain. Your vision can be reaching a point, a mindset, a version of yourself that's going to help you get to the next level. Because the next step is courage. And you have to be courageous in our world today. Everyone is going to tell you what you should and what you can't be doing. Everyone's going to say what type of life that you should be having. You should live in a certain lane and you should go slow and you should take it easy and you shouldn't try so hard and you shouldn't be a go-getter and you should play it safe. How many people are living in a fear of losing what they have gained, not knowing that they can get back everything because they have attained it once? Don't they realize that if something has been done, it can be done again? So everyone is so worried about losing what they have gotten because it was so hard to get there. Imagine giving yourself a mindset that you would do it again, that you will try again, that you will rise again, that you will run again. You will become powerful. I think of a story when I was in college, when I was working on my writing, because my writing wasn't as great as it was or is today. One of the things I did, it was a technique. One of the techniques I used to use, and it might be silly to some people, but it is extremely powerful and potent if used correctly, was I would write a paper, and then after writing the paper, I would delete all of the words and delete the save file from the computer, and then I would just have my printout of the paper that I did. And I can't give this to my teacher because it wasn't done yet. So I would take this paper and I would retype everything from reading it and from writing from the paper that I just printed out. And every single time I did it, I caught mistakes and I also made the writing better. The paper became better. And so it was easy for me to succeed into that class where the teacher would get and she would give a couple of critiques, sometimes with just punctuations and things like that. But then other than that, it was like, it's pretty solid. Sometimes they had to have some foundation work of summaries and we had to maybe define topics a little bit more. But it was something that I did because I understood I can't be afraid to do everything over again. Sometimes you have to rebuild after the home has been burnt down. Do you just run away and start anew, or do you rebuild? Most people, they will run away. Most people, they would cling on to something different or to cling on to someone else to be their support system at that point. And maybe sometimes you need that, but you have the courage nonetheless to stand on your 2 feet and to get up and try again. Because when you're in the ring with life, it is you and life. There's no one else. People can be cheering you on, people can be saying, get back up. But at the end of the day, it is your decision. Do you stay down or do you get back up? Courage defines that. Now we need to look at step 4, which is maybe one of the most important parts, and that's going to be discipline. Discipline is going to be, are you doing the things that you have to do every single day to help you get to that higher destiny? Because if you are not doing the things that you need to do in order to get to your higher destiny, then your discipline is lacking. Maybe you need to go to the gym to get more energy. Maybe you need to eat better to get more energy. Maybe you need to speak better or get better education. Whatever it be, are you disciplined in the aspect of doing what needs to be done? This is the scaffolding to your future. Discipline is going to help you get there. Sometimes you're going to do things that you don't like to do. Do you think I like going to the gym all the time and suffering and running and sweating? Well, yeah, sure, right? I've gotten used to it. But there was a point in my life where I said, man, do I have to do this? Like, this sucks. But then again, it's all about perspective. I remember when I first started running, and this was like in 5th grade and 6th grade, and I was doing just elementary basketball, right? Junior varsity. And as much as I would like to say I love to run and I love to do all these laps that the coach would make me do, I didn't like it. It was not fun. But then again, it was a goal of mine when I started to run. I want to get this 20. I want to get this in 30 seconds or something like that. And as much as I didn't want to push myself because I just wanted to be lazy or I wanted to find shortcuts, he pushed me. You need people to push you. You need people to challenge you because the goals that you might set for yourself might be subpar. They might just be good enough, not great. And so the discipline that I or was built on was based on what other people saw I was able to do. Because it's difficult for you to understand what you can do, especially when you haven't done it or when the world has give you limits and said that you can't do it. You find someone who says, hey, I know you can do it. I know you can push. Give me one more. And you might not have one more. I remember one day I was in the gym with my wife, and then there was a guy, I call him Pops, but his name is Steve. He was doing bench press, and then he was like, hey, like coaching my wife, like, you need to help him do more on the bench press. And he's basically, telling her it's all about mindset. Just because you think you can't do one more or that it's shaking and you should put the bar up, you shouldn't. It's mindset. It's all in the mind. You have the power, you have the strength. Give me one more. Give me one more. Give me one more. And before you knew it, you did 6 more than what you thought you couldn't do. You wanted to stop at 5 and he made you go to 9. He made you go to 10. He made you go to 12, whatever it be. He made you do more. Your mind was telling you to stop way before your limit. So discipline is helping your mind understand that just because you think you can't go anymore doesn't mean that you can't go anymore. We push because we love to see ourselves proven wrong. The feeling that you get when you run one more mile and you said you couldn't even run 1 mile, that right there leads to a mindset of discipline, but then it leads to a mindset of strength. Step 5 is talking about just the environment, talking about the people that you keep yourself around, be your spouse, your friends. Very similar to, Pops in the gym, right? That environment. He was going to challenge me, whether I wanted to be challenged or not. And I understand there's going to be some people who go to the gym. There's going to be someone there like Pop saying, hey, let's get down and let's get dirty. Let's get down to business. And sure enough, those people are like, I'm not going to the gym anymore. There's crazy people in this gym challenging me. I don't like this environment, right? I'm pushing myself too hard. I want to take it easy. That's not your higher destiny. That's your weaker destiny. That's your lower destiny. That's your weak self. That's the version of yourself you need to get rid of. If you're in an environment where people are challenging you and people are pushing you and people are breaking you so they can build you back up, that's a nice place to be. But if they're breaking you to leave you tarnished and leave you distraught, then that's the wrong place to be. The environment that you should surround yourself in when you're trying to reach your higher destiny is about building you up. It's about supporting you. It's not about carrying you. It's about support. There's a difference. Sometimes they're going to catch you and say, hey, keep going. Sometimes they might carry you for a period of time if you're down in the dumps because of something, but they understand that their job and their role is not to carry you and say, stay there. It's saying, hey, I understand you're down and out. Let's figure out a plan to get you back up. Maybe right now we have to walk a little bit slower, but then we know one day we're going to be able to fly. That environment of support needs to be there. Now, the last part is a simple aspect, but it could be maybe the most profound aspect. And that is going to be reflection and adjustment, because we need to look at our destiny not for simply what it is today. Our mindsets are going to constantly shift throughout the days, throughout the weeks, the months, the years, and the decades, and maybe even our lifetime, because the mindset I had when I was a teenager is not the mindset I have today. And I understand that the mindset I have now at 37, where I am today, is not the mindset I'm going to have when I'm 45 or when I'm 65 or when I'm 80. It's going to be a very different mindset. So all of this is to say is that life is a journey. Our destiny is a journey. Our path is not always going to be linear. It could be windy. It could be treacherous. It could be hazardous. But it is your path to walk on. And it's all there to help build you up. If you're familiar with these TOS series are for people with strong mindsets. It's a realization for you to understand, are you living a life of comfort, or are you living a life trying to reach this higher version of yourself? Going back to what I was talking about with the question I would ask, how did I do? Did I fulfill my destiny? Did I do what I was created to do? Because we're not just born with no purpose. We have a purpose to find what we were meant to do. Some people, they will go their whole life not knowing what they're supposed to be doing. They will be doing this and that and going down all of these paths and making all of these mistakes and living a life of pleasure and maybe living a life that at some point they feel like it's not theirs. So they would surround themselves with drugs and alcohol and people to drown out this feeling inside of them that they're not doing enough. That's their higher destiny, egging them on to say, hey, there's something more. Let's get to it. I understand sometimes we can find a nice, comfy spot. Think of winter and it's snowing outside. You're inside, maybe you have the fire going. You have a nice Christmas music going on or something like that, or some Christmas movies playing. Maybe you're under a blanket. You got a Snuggie or something. And a nice hot cup of chocolate with marshmallows. And you might be thinking that there is no other place that you would rather be than right where you are today. That's nice to be in that position. But then again, what if you change your perspective? Maybe you didn't have a nice warm home. Maybe you didn't have anything to drink or anything to listen to or watch. And you were shivering. And you thinking about how you're going to make it through this night, because living through cold nights are going to be a challenge for people who don't have shelter. What is your mindset then? Do you feel comfortable, or do you feel like you need to do something? Some people, they just fight to survive for the next day so they can struggle again. And maybe that's what you need. But long term, it's not about just struggling to survive. We need to give our mindset of being able to thrive, being able to reach this destiny in life where we can have these good moments in life, but then we say, this is nice, but I think we can do more. We're not done yet. This is not to say that we don't appreciate what we have and what we have done. We just understand that our destiny is a story that is always going to be going. There's always going to be being written as long as we are alive. Because I can't imagine a parent having children and then those children having grandkids and then those grandkids having grandkids. And if you're still alive, your purpose was once being able to provide for your kids, and then you traveling the world maybe until they had kids. And then your purpose becomes taking care of their kids, your grandbabies, and maybe even your great great grandbabies. Purpose can change. Life can adjust. The mindset that you have today might be only about you. It might be only about your path right now. It might not be about your spouse because you don't have one. It might not be about your kids because you don't have any. But then something happens and your mindset shifts. Your destiny maybe becomes more clear. The vision that you have given yourself, maybe it begins to become more into focus. That we have two destinies in life, one that is worth nothing and one that is worth everything. It's worth a damn, it's worth trying, it's worth fighting for. But it requires you to have a strong mindset. It requires you to have this mindset that your destiny needs to be fulfilled, that there is something for you to do today. What are you doing today? And so we have this article here, TUS Part 76, Our Two Destinies, Why Only One Leads to True Success and Fulfillment. I want you to go lean more into the one that's going to give you the successes that you're looking for in life, that are going to give you the fulfillments that you're looking for in life. Because easy might be comfortable today, but long term is going to lead to so much more problem. And in this article, you're going to find these 6 steps that are going to help you get to this higher destiny by being more aware, by by having a vision, by being courageous, by being disciplined, by being in the right environment, and by reflecting and adjusting when necessary. All of these steps are crucial for you to live intentionally. And I encourage everyone to check out this article. The link is right down below. You can easily begin to do the work to live more in line with your destiny. The story is not going to be written just by life happening to you. You have to write it on purpose. You have to pick up the pen. You have to do the work to get the letters into words and the words on the paper. And then you have to give those words some life and some meaning. No one said that life is going to be easy. No one said that the good things in life are going to be allotted for you. Because what is that? Success is going to be defined by you. Fulfillment is going to be defined by you. But yet, you can define it and never reach it. So understand what you want. Understand what you need to do in order to get what you want. Do not settle for the lesser destiny when there's a higher destiny waiting for you to have it fulfilled.